Hello, everybody. This is Laurie from LlamaIndex here to take you through our latest open source project, and it's called FlowMaker. Uh, it is a visual agent builder for LlamaIndex. LlamaIndex, as you know, is a framework for building AI agents powered by LLMs, and we thought it would be neat as an experiment to see if we could put together an interface that lets you generate that code and generate agents just by dragging and dropping without having to write the code yourself. So the agents will look, the diagrams that we're going to be generating look something like this. So let's dive straight in. I've already put in my LlamaCloud API key and an LLM key, in this case, a Claude key. So I can get started immediately. I'm going to do the simplest possible flow to start with. I'm just going to bring in a user input node, which is a node that asks the user to enter some input. So I'm going to say ask a question. And then we're going to take the input that they've given us and send it straight to the LLM. We could add a prefix here, so we could contextualize the input that the user has given, but we don't need to. And then we just bring in a stop node. And the fun thing is that we can run this interactively in the browser. So you can see the first node is highlighted and it is telling us to ask a question. So what's the capital of South Dakota? You can see prompt LLM is highlighted. It immediately responds with the capital of South Dakota is Pierre, and then it stops. And that's the simplest possible agent you can build, but that's not all. You can't just run it in the browser. You can also get compiled code that you can run on the command line. It's not the tidiest code. You can see here that it is throwing my API keys directly into the code, which is a bad security practice. Obviously, you should put those in an env file, and I'm going to have to delete these keys before you see this video. But it has generated a bunch of LlamaIndex TypeScript workflows. So you can see the workflow events here, and you can see the handlers. This is the start node. This is the node where it asks a question, which triggers a command line entry of data here. And when that's done, it sends that input to Claude Sonnet and gets the answer, which takes us to the stop. So that's neat. We can do more than that, though. This is the simplest possible agent. Let's make it a little bit more complicated. So let's get rid of our LLM prompt for now. Let's bring in an agent instead. Agents are different from just prompting the LLM because agents can use tools. So let's configure our agent to use Claude Sonnet, and let's tell it a little bit more about itself. Let's say, you are a helpful agent that can answer questions about resumes, because that is what we're going to build today. What I've done in advance of us doing all of this is I've created a LlamaCloud index. So you can see in my list of indexes, there's one called many fake resumes. And if you look at the data sources, you'll see that I've pre-populated it with a bunch of synthetic resumes that I generated earlier. If I now bring in an agent tool, you can see that the type of tool that you can create is a LlamaCloud index. It's already got my LlamaCloud API key, so you can see exactly the same set of indexes that were available to me before. Let's connect that to our agent, and we need to give the tool a name and a description. So let's call it resume search, because that is how the agent knows what the tool does. Searches data about a bunch of resumes. Cool. Now let's go and run it interactively. It's still asking me to ask a question. I should clarify that that should be a question about resumes. Who's good at React? So you can see it's asking the agent now, and it's thinking. What it's doing under the hood is it's using the index tool to retrieve a bunch of data, and it's sorting through it. And let's see what it gives me. Excellent. Based on the search results, it found me a bunch of my fake resumes who are React developers. There's Alex Kim and Sophia Williams, et cetera, et cetera. Cool. And the agent has stopped. So if we compile this code, we can see that a bit more has happened this time. You can see that it has created a search function. This is what is calling LlamaCloud, and it is turning that search function into a tool, and then it is creating an agent over here that it's giving that tool to, and that is how it is executing this workflow. So this workflow has been completely generated for you. So now let's do something that we know won't work. Let's ask it about the weather. What will our agent do? It will say that it doesn't have access to weather information and stop. But we can be a little bit more clever than that. So let's go back to our graph, and let's say that we're not always just going to call the agent. We're going to make a decision first. The decision is this question conceivably about resumes? And we'll modify our question. So it's ask a question about the candidates. If it's not, then we will get it to prompt our LLM. So this is the false path. Explain that you can only answer questions about resumes. And what we'll do is we'll say if that happens, we will loop back to the start. But if it is, then we'll do what we did before. We'll prompt the agent, and then we'll stop. So you can see this is beginning to get a bit complicated. Let's run it interactively and see how it works. So ask a question about our candidates. Who's good at React should work exactly the way that it worked before. You can see that it asks the decision. The decision is true. This is a question that could conceivably be about resumes. There's an LLM under the hood answering that, by the way. And it answers as it did before, and it stops. But we can restart and run it again. Say, what's the weather today? And it says this time false. It is not a question that is conceivably about resumes. And so the prompt LLM tells us what I told it to tell us, that it's, I can only answer questions about resumes, and it loops back to the beginning where I can then answer the question again. You can see that in the compiled code as well. It looks very much the same as it did before, except you can see our decision node evaluating a question. It's asking the LLM to evaluate the question in a true or false way. And you can also see here that it's possible for two different events to send us to the ask a question. This is how the loop works. The event edge H2 takes us back to the start. Cool. So those are some of the things that you can build using this drag and drop interface. It's very experimental. It's very new. We would be delighted to hear from you what you'd like to build with this, what you think is missing, what you think should be added, how you think it should be different. Get back to us, and we'll see where we can take this project. Thanks for listening.